All right, we're just going to give it a few minutes and see if anyone else is joining us today on our Google Hangout. I am, I'm a little bit, well, nervous, but not really, mostly about the technology because this is a little bit new for me, Google Hangouts. And the one time I tried it before, I was interviewing someone and we couldn't get it done. So let's hope that this is a success. What I love about Google Hangouts is that it's video, but that it's also recorded and it'll just go right on my YouTube page after, and you guys can all check it out there if you haven't come on live. So I've just sent out a chat to see who else is joining us here. And, you know, just let's give it a few more seconds. I don't want those of you watching the video to have to wait, you know, very long. But essentially what we're going to talk about today is feminine vision and leadership and how that relates to what we're all being called to do as souls on the planet right now. I'm specifically talking to women, but of course men can listen to this because the feminine qualities, the feminine energy in us is so needed right now. But specifically for women, this call is for leaders of movements. It's for entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. So maybe you are in a job that you don't feel is the highest expression of your gifts yet, and you long to really do and live from your gift. And you know deep down you have a gift, you have a purpose, you have a calling. You're not maybe sure what it is, but you know that you have that. You've been put on the planet for a reason, and you need to start doing this now, because you're going to feel just tremendously more pain if you continue to go down the road of not living from that. And then I'm also talking to entrepreneurs who already have businesses, and maybe their business is struggling. You know, maybe you are not making enough money. You haven't bridged the gap between doing what you love and, you know, living prosperously. You may really want to take your business to the next level. And I'm talking about the way in which, especially when we're just beginning, but this can plague entrepreneurs for a long time, when we're just thinking too small about what it is we're here to do. And I like to talk a lot about this, but you know, there is no one else on the planet like us, and we are powerful beyond measure. And I know that that can sound a little airy-fairy, but it's so, so true. And if everyone on the planet really knew that, like, wow, we would make, we would just jump leaps and bounds. So that's really my intention, is to get you all to the point where you're able to even tap into the highest vision for your soul and why it's here on the planet, and then have the courage to follow that and live it and know that it's not too big for you, that you are supposed to leave a legacy and you are meant to live prosperously. You are meant for all of that. I'm specifically speaking to women who feel that they have something to stand for. Things fire them up, and they're not really coming out with them. They're not really vulnerably expressing themselves in the way that they may do in their personal lives, they may do in their day-to-day lives, but they need to kick that up a notch in terms of what they're bringing to the table for their business, and how that is really the key to making a difference and making more money in your business. So we tend to play small, keep quiet, stay safe, and there's reasons for that I'm going to go into on the call today, or on the Hangout rather. Yay! So what I know for sure is that if you are listening to this right now, and if you're on the Hangout, your soul, you know, brought you to this call. And a lot of people say that, and I've heard that before, but not everyone is going to be attracted to my work. Not everyone is going to want to talk about the things that we're going to talk about on this Hangout today. And so if you know that it's your you may not know what has guided you here, but your soul knows that the information on this call and through me is what, you know, it needs to live out its destiny. So just trust that and listen. So I'd like to first start by saying, let's see. Yeah, I'm just going to go on and go ahead. This being the first of many hangouts that I'm going to do, which is super exciting, in this series of feminine vision and leadership. I think we need to have lots of discussions about it, and that's really what I want to do, is have a lot of discussion about it. And I'd love for those of you who are joining live to, you know, enter a chat message and, you know, tell me your questions about what you're struggling with, because I'd love to know them. I'd love to really have the conversation with everyone about what they're you know, what they're not able to move forward with, and what it seems every day is still staying the same, and they need some guidance on how to get to the next level. There's really no one else on the planet like you. I've heard this before. You know, and I say it a lot. I think it can, you know, sometimes get overused, but it's so effing true, loves. It's so true. Your soul has this super unique vibratory energy, and it came and chose. It came to the planet. It chose to incarnate at this specific time to deliver your unique gift. This is huge. It didn't come by mistake. It didn't come to just hang out. It did not come to struggle, to doubt, to fear, or to live in poverty. That's for sure. Your soul actually knows nothing of that. We only experience that in this human plane. You know, so know that, you know, on a soul level, you don't even know anything about those things, and it's something that we learn here. So at your essence, that's not you. What you cannot do is follow any sort of blueprint or download or even any system specifically to deliver your gift and to build and grow your business. That's a little bit what I talked about yesterday on Facebook, but you know, it goes to the point of we have to stay true to ourselves. I'm seeing so often now in this industry that you know, people are not staying true to themselves. They are copying what other people are doing, and what happens is it's becoming inauthentic and it's out of integrity. And I am really, if you're following me on Facebook, you know that I'm taking a stand for this. I really need us all to not let this become a unconscious industry like so many that we have out there. If we're in the practice of personal development and then inspiring others and being influential, that's a responsibility that we have to stay really true to ourselves and our inner voice. And so those of you leaders who I'm working with now, I'm really interested in not having you do exactly what I do, although I'm going to, you know, I'm going to guide you in every way from all the experiences and training that I've had. But I'm not going to tell you to do it exactly the way I do it. I'm going to teach you how to access your own inner voice and your inner knowledge, because you have everything, you know everything within you. You might need some tools and practices in order to get where you need to go, but you know what you came here to deliver, and it's just our job to uncover it. So some of the ways that you might know that you have a mission to lead, if you're still in doubt, is that you get fired up about the wrongs in the world, like me and inauthenticity in the coaching industry. You know, you have your things. That might be one of them. If you're a coach or a healer or a teacher, you might be struggling with some of that. But you might have others. I have one client who I work with, and she is really passionate about the energetic sector. And there's many facets to that, but about the environment and about how she's going to be a feminine leader in the political and corporate municipal realms. This is huge, to change the way we do this. Not some airy-fairy activist, a really strong, feminine, powerful leader. So she gets fired up about that, and that's really her thing. Another thing I get really fired up about is, you know, animal cruelty. Now, that's not my business, but I do donate a lot of my money and even time into that cause. So if you have lunch with me and you bring up something about animals, I can talk to you all day long. I'll probably get pretty like really, serious about it as well. And so that might happen to you too. You might notice that, people kind of shy away sometimes because there's those few things that you talk about and you're really passionate about it. All right, that's a good thing. For years, I pushed that down, and then I realized that that was one of my gifts. You may also have a strong desire to help people. If you're on this call or if you're listening to this, most likely you do. You have always probably had that, and you may have taken detours away from that knowing because you wanted to make money. Like I did when I was a banker. I pursued a degree in economics and then an MBA in finance when it's not at all what I wanted to do. And I knew that it didn't really mean anything to anyone. It wasn't meaningful to me or to the planet. It wasn't helping anyone, but I did it anyway because I thought that was how I was going to make a stable and secure life for myself. So until I woke up, I couldn't pursue that dream because I didn't think it was possible. So a really strong indicator is that you have a mission to lead, is that you really have a strong desire to make other people's lives better. And in essence, what that does is bring more consciousness to the planet, which is, what we need and what we're going for if we're all going to survive. You also probably, even if you're very confused and plagued with doubt and flip back and forth and, have kind of spent years mulling around this, deep down, you have something big to do on the planet. And you might be scared to admit that. That might feel a little egotistic to you. And if you actually admit it, you might know that you need to do something about it, so you just don't admit it. But, you don't have to tell me. I just know that deep down, if you have a big mission or a mission to lead, then you feel like you've always felt like you have that inside of you. You just might not be sure what exactly it is and how to do it. You are probably gifted in a few areas of which you can't figure out how you would monetize. So they're not mainstream, or what we've had to be, businesses that are mainstream up until this point, but things are changing. So that's the good news, but that might have held you back so far. And the last thing I would say is that, if you have a mission, if there's a lot of things in the world that you would do differently. So for example, I'll go back to like my unhappiness with how I see the coaching industry becoming like a mass marketing scheme, and some of the lack of integrity in the marketing on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. And I would do it differently. So I'm doing it differently. And so you should have your thing, or you could have your thing. There's things in the world that that you would do differently if you had the power. So I just have my little outline here. That's what I keep looking at, just to kind of take us through what I wanted to cover today in terms of feminine vision and leadership. Just to circle back, this is going into knowing if you're a born leader, knowing if you're here to revolutionize things. And that doesn't mean that, you're going to be the next Oprah Winfrey. Like maybe you are. But it doesn't, if that scares you, it doesn't mean that. It doesn't have to be huge. It doesn't have to be like fame. It can be small. It can be in your own way, it doesn't have to be this huge mission. It might be. But when you surrender the power of what it's supposed to be, that's when, it doesn't really matter anymore. But we won't talk about that on today's call. I just want you to know that I'm not talking about that you're going to be the next Martin Luther King Jr. or Mother Teresa or, whatever. You're doing your thing in the world. Those are the indicators for a person who's living an everyday life with everyday struggles, the ones that I just went through. Those are the indicators to know that you actually were put on the planet to be a leader of something, of a movement, of a mission. All right. And so that's leadership. And we also are talking about vision today. You know, like what I talked about in the beginning, you have a unique gift, meaning your mission is your vision, essentially. They're pretty much one and the same. Going back to the example that I put on Facebook yesterday about McDonald's and Chipotle, McDonald's wanted Chipotle to put or to do lots of things to grow their business in the early days when they owned 90% of the shares of Chipotle. And Chipotle didn't listen to them, like putting drive-throughs and breakfast and like these different things that McDonald's does, right? Because that's how they knew to grow. And they were telling Chipotle that that's what they should do to grow. But Chipotle had a different vision. They, you know, are doing things like non-GMO food and ethically sourced food and this different kind of model, which they are thriving with. Because why? They saw something that was futuristic, it was an innovation in the fast food industry. And instead of listening to their big brother, which essentially a lot of people would do because McDonald's was successful then and had huge successes, they just stayed true to their own inner vision and inner voice. And I really want that to come through for everyone today, that you are a leader of a mission and that it's yours. It's not what I want you to do or what anyone else is doing already. It might be similar, but you're going to have your own flair, and never doubt that. Never doubt what you see, because as a soul that incarnated on this planet at this time, you are a futuristic person. You can see where we're going and what needs to happen in order to whatever. Okay. So the deep inner feeling and voice inside of you is your soul's voice telling you way more than what you see in this planetary 3D world that we're living in. You must follow what your soul says, okay? Because that's why it came here. It came here to deliver that, all right? And so no one else can tell you what that is, and no one else can tell you how to do it, and no one should tell you like, okay, so you have that vision, and so you need to do it like this because I did it like this. You will learn from some people, but always be checking into what rings true for you. All right. So moving on to, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things that are holding us back as being a strong, powerful, feminine leader. Okay. One of the things is being bold and being seen as a bitch. I wrote about this a little bit ago on Facebook, and a lot of women resonated with it. We have been, there's so much history to this of how women have been burned at the stake and killed and, raped and abused and all of this stuff for being powerful, intuitive forces on the planet. There were other forces that didn't want the power to be there through the woman. So we were abused for that. And so that's a generational thing that even those of us on the planet right now might not have felt in that way. We felt it in other ways. Even being objectified as a woman is a way in which we're being abused. But I think that many of us have very strong opinions, and there's this double-edged sword for women, which is that if you're really strong in the way you think and you're opinionated and you speak truth about a potentially controversial topic, you're going to be seen as a bitch or too much. And so that fear holds us back. And I want to, talk about that because I think that most of us need to not let that hold us back. And we need to start exercising that within us. To be a change maker, to not be someone who's just going along with the crowd. You got to say what's true for you, what fires you up, being really bold about it. And that's not like, I'm all love and light and, I just think everything is peace, love, and happiness. Like, that's not being a spiritual person to me. One of the things holding us back is being afraid to be seen as too much or a bitch. And so I'd like you all to examine that within yourself if you're doing that, and if you're afraid to talk about what you really feel because of how you might be seen. Number two, we haven't truly accessed our power, our true power, strength in the physical and strength in the energetic body is what helps us up level our thoughts, meaning our lives. Okay, if we don't have the strength in our physical body, in our chakra system, we don't have the power to change here and to have the energy to navigate through our experience in a holy level. And so we need to be cultivating that power and accessing that power in every day. And there are many practices that we can do in order to really feel that power. Number three is we're not listening to our intuition. This is just, it's so huge. Our whole life needs to be navigated based on our intuition, based on feeling rather than the rational mind. And most of human beings right now are operating everything throughout their life with their rational mind. And so that's kind of how we've gone wrong in so many ways. Why feminine vision and leadership is so important is because women are so intuitively, they're natural intuitives. We are natural intuitives. And so, one of the ways to practice that in your own life is to start to really make decisions based on your intuition. This just requires a tremendous amount of trust in yourself. Trust in yourself to make, the right decision, to make good decisions, to have the right people coming in and out of your life. And this requires an energetic, radiant body. And really trusting if something comes in, feels off, and it could seem fine, it's got to go, even if you can't reason why. And business decisions also need to be made based on that. They could be big risks, big investments. And if you get a yes, it should be yes. That's your soul telling you where you need to go to progress on your soul's path here at this time. And when it's a no, even if it's like cheaper or, rationally seems like why not? You have to say no. Okay, so this is super important. The intuition. I think that if we could get intuition into every big corporation, we'd be really changing everything. Number four is, as women, we are not resting with our cycle or listening to our cycle. And this is huge. Not many women want to talk about this, but when I started to do this practice and start to really understand where I was at in my cycle, let my cycle run naturally. So that's first and foremost, like no birth control, no hormone pills, unless it's absolutely medically necessary for whatever reason. But just not wanting to get pregnant is not a reason enough for me. Consult your own intuitive guide. But putting anything in your body to manipulate your cycle is just asking for you to be completely out of touch with who you really are. And the biggest goal, the biggest happiness, joy, love, feeling of fulfillment comes from knowing the truth of who you really are. And as a woman, your cycle is such a sacred, blessed thing that somehow we learn to hate and to, be resistant because it, comes at the wrong time or it's messy. And but it's something to really celebrate. It's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. So that's regarding when you're actually on your moon cycle. And then the rest of the time, so when you have your moon, I like to call it, and then as you come out of your moon, you're on your first week of your cycle, preceding second, third, and fourth week. And each one of those weeks for a woman has a different energy. Some of it might be super creative. So as you come into your ovulating time, you're going to be way more creative. And then you're going to go back down into a more of a nesting period as you come into your moon again. And so, you know, one of the biggest changes I made in my business was like when my moon cycle arrives, you know, when my moon arrives, I don't work that day. I just take the whole day off. I don't really care what has happened. I cancel my whole calendar. I mean, I usually kind of know when it's going to happen, but sometimes it surprises me and I just cancel everything. And there were days I remember being a banker and I was like doubled over in cramping pain, you know, in my office, and you'd never tell your boss that you got your period and you had to go home. I mean, maybe some of you have that luxury, but I didn't. So, this is huge. It's not just for the comfort. There's so much wisdom in the woman's moon cycle. And I want you all to just really acknowledge that. Really acknowledge that. Number 5, and again, the things that we're talking about here are the things that are holding us back from being leaders. Number 5 is we're constantly plagued with doubt and confusion. We have an addiction, if you will, to doubt and confusion. We doubt our purpose. We doubt who we should be talking to and who's our ideal client, and how we should be doing it, what business model, what revenue stream, what this, what that. We doubt if we should leave our job or not. We doubt if we're going to be successful. We're doubting about where the money's going to come from or what we should spend money on. Or, I mean, imagine how many times a day you have one even thought form of doubt. And doubt drains 30% of your energy. So when I was talking about being able to up-level your life to changing your whole neurological structure, that takes a tremendous amount of energy, all right? And if you're in doubt and you're living with so much doubt, then you're not going to be able to do that. So starting to bring to light the ways in which you doubt yourself in your life is huge, okay? And then starting to learn ways in which you can transform that doubt. And one of that is, I mean, there are many. Obviously, having accountability and a mentor really helps, right? Because they'll point out the ways in which you're thinking in your old patterns or in these patterns that are holding you back. But one of the ways that doubt really starts to leave is when it really starts to sink in that you are the chosen one. Like you are the most special thing that's ever come to the planet. And when you don't know that and you just flounder around and you're trying to figure out who you really are, then it's really hard to know that. But when that starts to sink in, which I would say happens through meditation and a deep spiritual practice, when you start to really connect with the God self and the fact that you're a living God, then the doubt really leaves and you just know that you are here for a reason. There's no more doubt and you have to pursue that with everything you have. And the more that you let come out of you, the more that comes into you. And that's where the wealth and prosperity comes in. All right, so what to do if these things, are really holding you back still from moving forward. So if you're on the line, by the way, and you have any questions, please chat them in, and let's hope that works and that I can see them on my screen. So when you understand, like I just said, when you understand you are the chosen one, you are the gift, and you are able to quiet the noise of your mind and begin to pursue your mission with steadfastness and discipline. This happens through a spiritual practice, and there are many different things that you can do to really sink into the depths of who you are that I won't go into here just because it is such a personal thing it's different for everyone. But without it, if you're lost in your mind, it's almost impossible to really feel that clarity and that confidence to move forward. And it's actually just as simple as doing some of these spiritual practices to help you align, get connected with who you really are. And when you understand, when you really truly understand, when you know that in your heart, who you really truly are, then you just watch. You don't even have to do much. Everything starts to get into place. Number 2, what to do, think way bigger than you're thinking right now. So most of you are, getting caught in what other people are doing. You're following everyone else's emails and the Facebook feed, and you're comparing yourself, and you're thinking about how your business could work or what's going to work. You're thinking about if it's going to make any money. Maybe I'll just do that because that just seems like that'll make some money, and then and then later I'll think about whatever. And you're just like, really, if you can imagine, just thinking on a small level, and that's not what you came here to do. Like everything, it's just like, it's so much more than you could ever imagine. It's so much more expansive than you could ever imagine. It's so much more prosperous than you could ever imagine. It's so much more easy than you could ever imagine. And so I want you to if you take something away, start contemplating what your legacy is right now. Like, think on that level, on that big level, like, what's my legacy? What am I here to give and to serve? And what's my gift? And how do I want to do that? In what way would I do that would make me really joyful? And how much would I charge for it and feel really good about that? Like, that's what's available. That's what's available for you. Number 3, what to do is meditate every motherfucking day. If you don't mind me swearing, it's kind of my style. Meditate every day. I have gone through moments in my spiritual awakening where I've been really consistent in my practice, and then I fall off and then I go back. And I think that's part of, the path. But when I'm on it, like I've been on it very consistently for the past 5 months, everything changes. Everything changes. So find a teacher, start to meditate every day, make your life holy. And I don't mean anything religious about that, just holy. Like, who is in your life should have a holy energy around it. Things in your life should be holy and sacred. Everything that surrounds you. How you spend your time should feel very holy and sacred. And you want to infuse your life with the God energy, with the I am the chosen one energy. I am a living God. I am an angel here on earth. I am special. I have something very important to deliver, and I'm on my mission. So you want to breathe very consciously. You want to watch your mind. You want to repeat mantras, very, very, very powerful technologies. You want to move your body every day, and all of those things move the energy in your body, which is the most important thing. Stagnant energy in your body means stagnant energy in your mind, which means that you're going to resort to low-level thinking, small, destructive thinking. And also your radiant field is going to be very small. So the things that you want to come at you, like opportunity, mentors, money, they're not going to come near you because you don't have a very expansive, radiant, and auric body. Number 4, what to do if you know that you're a leader and you're not really sure how to go about doing it still, but you know that you are. Start with speaking your truth everywhere you go. Practice the art of saying what you mean, being bold, speaking it, and of course with kindness. Like, don't go around fighting with everyone. That's not the mandate. But notice the ways in which you might be holding yourself back and staying small and staying safe. And the parts of you that scare you, like the thought that scares you the most, like, oh, if I really put what I thought on Facebook, or if I really put what I thought or said what I thought in my whatever group, or to my mom, or to my partner, or to my clients, if that like really like, ooh, my boss, then that's where you need to go. Your truth is actually tied to your legacy. Your truth is why you're here. Period. Simple as that. So loves, I don't see any questions here, which means that like none of you may be on. I don't know. I have no idea if this is even working. It says that it's live, but all of you who did write me and say you wanted to be on this hangout, I'm going to send you the link as soon as it's up on YouTube. So if that's you listening now, thank you so much for listening to the recording. I'm going to talk a little bit right now about the different ways that I work. And so that if you're interested in continuing this work, which is it's very powerful stuff. It's very deep work. Because most of you who are following me know that I'm really about intelligent business, conscious business practices. I'm really about building businesses that are going to change the world in a highly conscious way, but I'm really also about wealth and prosperity, profit, and making everything really successful for everyone. So it's a very, my programs are designed to really up level, like on a soul level, destinies, get you really in touch with what your destiny is, what you came here to do, and then expand that out, radiate that out so that you live it right now, right here, right now. So few ways that I work, I'll just explain. I have a year-long spiritual leadership program. And that's really for highly committed women on this path. They are corporate executives and high-level entrepreneurs. And they know that they really need some deep accountability to take their legacy and their mission forward. And so I work with them on a year-long basis. And that's really by invitation. I host a very small number of women in that program. There's also a mastermind component, a group component to that. I also host weekends at my home in Venice Beach, Los Angeles, and around the world. I have one coming up in Costa Rica in October. So if you're interested in that, please do send me a message. You can find my email at my website. It's listed there. Or it's Tara@TaraMalarkey.com. And what I wanted, though, to tell you guys today is that most of you have known that those are the two ways really to work with me right now, because I'm working on my first book, and that takes up a lot of my time, and also my daily writings on the social medias for you all. But I did get the download, the message very clearly that I needed to open up a shorter program just for the summer. For those of you who have been waiting for something like that, and also those of you who can't fly out here to Los Angeles to be with me and to do your own VIP retreat, which I also host at my house, private retreats. So a little bit about this program, and if you're not on my email list, you can get on it, or you can send me a message and I'll give you the details. There are only 5 slots available in my summer program. So that's a virtual private program. That's a private coaching program. It's called Luminous Leadership. And it's going to be a combination of conscious business and ancient spiritual techniques to really help women become bolder and more courageous feminine leaders on the planet. I'm really interested in up-leveling wealth and prosperity for each of these women as they lead their movement. This will be very, very deep work, and we're going to have an intimate relationship for 3 months. So there will be lots of direction on daily meditations and mantras that are going to shift everything neurologically and in your body. They're ancient yoga sciences, as well as the authentic business tools that I follow that really has clients, reaching out to me all the time, wanting to work with me, and that I don't really have to do much of these big blueprint 7-figure launches. I don't do any of them because I don't want to do them. It's nothing wrong with them. If you want to do them, it's totally fine, but it's just not my thing. And so what I prefer to do is just be open and vulnerable and authentic and honest with my audience and have people come and want to work with me when they feel really called to. So if you're interested in the summer program, we're going to start next week. There's 5 slots, but 3 of them are already gone, so there's 2 spaces left. If that's you, then please just email me and let me know. We'll just chat for a few minutes to make sure it's right for you. And that's all, loves. I really hope this was super, super informative and helpful for you. If you have any recommendations about future content for future Google Hangouts, not sure if I'm going to do it once a week or bi-weekly, but I'm really excited about this platform, and I really expect to do more and more of those. So those of you following me on Facebook, you know that my posts are really rich. We're going to be talking about a lot of that stuff that I'm posting. I'd love for you guys to come live so you can ask me questions. I'm going to check again if there's any questions. You can ask me questions online. That's really like fun for me. And anyway, happy, what are we, Tuesday? Have a great week, and just feel free to be in touch with me via email or on my website. All right, love.